And what I'm observing is that there are groups that want to ensure that they control the outcome. And that is new, right through history. Whenever we go through a period of major social change, there are always those groups that want to control the situation. And what we have observed, for instance, is that the change is happening. Whether we like it or not, it is happening. And what we don't know is where we're going to end up. Right? That one we don't know. But it is certain that change will happen. And I just want to focus on a topic that is close to my heart, which is gender inequality. We see, for instance, in America, where there's just such a pushback around this topic. People want to maintain the status quo or dial back the clock, and turn it back, and that is not possible because change is inevitable in this area. What we need to understand is that the reality is that the role of women in society has changed. And women are opening up or waking up to who they are. And there's a growing confidence in terms of their capabilities. Because they used to know that the identity of women has been defined by society. So, women are starting to lead in various areas, and they're starting to occupy leadership positions, for instance. There's data now that 66% of graduates in South Africa are women. I read, and this is the trend all over the world. I read, for instance, that there's some data around the S&P 500 companies in the US that the demographics of white male is coming down. And for the first time, women and people of color are the majority on these boards. That is a change that we never anticipated. And then when it comes to, the other major change that actually shocked me was the appointment of a woman at the head of the Church of England. We never thought we'd see that in our lifetime. It says that this change is happening. And the reason was the previous leader had to step down because of unethical behavior. So this issue of ethics is everywhere. And the reason is that, the reality of the situation is that these patriarchal religious institutions are dying slowly, or they're in decline because of this change that is happening globally. The fear for me is that if men and women are not coming together to lead this social change, we're going to have unintended consequences that we're beginning to see even now. Women are making decisions that are right for them. We have a crisis of a global birth rate in the West because women are taking decisions to say we are not prepared to give birth for a society that is not supporting us, and we have to carry the burden alone. We're seeing trends of women deciding not to get married. Or even if they get married, they decide not to have children. Because again, they are saying, we are tired of carrying the burden of our traditional responsibilities around family without support. We're choosing our careers like everyone else. Because men are able to reach their highest levels because they have support. So we need support. High levels of divorce rate, because again, women are making choices that are right for them. So my hope is that we'll learn from history. and we will come together and deal with this issue so that we avoid this pendulum effect, where we always move to the extremes before we find balance. There may have been time when the masculine male leadership was needed in the world, but right now we need balance. I mean, surely we can solve our problems without war.
Yeah.
And now, after all the distractions and the death, we must come back and be excited that there's a peace treaty. Really, we need women to provide leadership in cases like this. Now, when it comes to this social change, if we remember the great social change of the 16th and 17th centuries, there were again these groups that wanted to control the outcome. But in spite of the wars, in spite of the resistance to change, social change happened. We are beneficiaries of that social change today. So this social change is going to happen even in this area of inequality. That's why I'm advocating that we manage it beforehand. On issue of, technology,